The room that didn't exist. I've lived in this house my whole life. You'd think I'd know every corner of it by now, right? That's why I can't explain what I found last night. It started when I was reorganizing the basement. My parents used to keep the place stuffed with boxes of old junk, but since they moved out, I've been slowly clearing it out. Last night, while I was moving a heavy bookcase, I noticed something weird. Behind the bookcase was a door. It didn't make sense. I'd been in that basement 100 times. That door wasn't there before. At least, I don't think it was. The door was small, with peeling paint and an old metal handle. I hesitated for a second, but curiosity got the better of me. I pulled it open. Behind it was a room. It was small and dimly lit, with a single flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. What made my stomach turn was that the room was furnished. There was a bed, a wooden chair, and a little desk. The bed was made, with a faded quilt tucked neatly over the mattress. The desk had books stacked on it, books I recognized. They were books I used to own when I was a kid. I swear, they were my books. One of them even had my name scribbled on the inside cover in my old, messy handwriting. I backed out of the room, heart pounding. Where did this come from? How could it be here? That's when I noticed something else. On the wall by the bed, there were photos. They were photos of me. At least, they looked like me. But in every picture, something was off. In one, my hair was shorter than it's ever been. In another, I was wearing clothes I'd never owned. Then I saw the last photo. My stomach dropped. It was me, standing in the basement. I was wearing the exact outfit I had on at that moment, and I was staring right at the camera. I slammed the door shut and ran upstairs. I haven't gone back down since, and I don't think I ever will. Whatever that room is, whoever, or whatever, was in it. I don't want to know. The House of Whispers. You'll never believe what my grandma's will left me. She gave me her house. I didn't think much of it at first, just an old place with creaky floors and outdated wallpaper. It needed work, sure, but I figured it was just a regular old house. I was so wrong. The first week, I started noticing things. At night, the house wasn't quiet like I expected. I'd hear faint creaks and soft noises, but I wrote it off as the house settling. Then, the whispers started. The first time it happened, I was lying in bed, and I swear I heard my name, Anna. It was so quiet I almost thought I imagined it. But the next night, it happened again, clearer this time. By the third night, the whispers weren't just saying my name. They sounded like they were coming from somewhere inside the walls. I decided I needed to figure out what was going on. I followed the whispers down the hallway. They were louder near the closet, just an old coat closet, full of my grandma's stuff. I opened the door, and the sound stopped, like it was holding its breath. That's when I noticed the crack in the back wall. I looked closer, and I realized it wasn't just a crack. It was a seam. My stomach turned, but I pushed on it, and a hidden door creaked open. Behind it was a narrow passage, dark and damp. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped inside. The air felt heavy, like it hadn't been touched in years. At the end of the passage was a small hidden room, and what I saw there will stay with me forever. The floor was covered in dirty blankets and rusted food cans, but the walls were the worst part. They were covered in scratches, long, deep ones, like someone had been clawing to get out. I ran out of there and called the police. When they searched the room, they found bones. Human bones. It turns out, my grandma had a secret. During the Great Depression, she took in kids who had nowhere else to go. But some of those kids never left. I don't know what happened in that house, and I don't want to know. I packed my stuff and moved out the next day. Still, sometimes, when it's quiet, I swear I can hear the whispers. The husband who stands still. The woman at my door said her husband was inside my home. She was frantic, unkempt, and agitated. I told her she had the wrong address, but she begged, "He stands still." I closed the door, but I couldn't shake her voice as she pounded, warning me that her husband could disappear and suppress his presence. I searched my apartment, finally checking the old dumbwaiter shaft behind the kitchen door, but it was empty. As I passed the door again, I found a torn envelope with the words, "Listen. Please." When I crouched to retrieve it, I heard her whisper from below. Her husband had been standing unnoticed in their home, always still. She explained he had become unnervingly thin, paler from sunscreen, and practiced hiding in plain sight. Terrified, I ignored her plea, telling myself she was delusional. But later, through my window, I spotted her across the park, sitting in a chair, watching my apartment. I felt a chill and turned to find him, her husband, standing eerily still in my kitchen. He was bent unnaturally, staring into space. I tried calling out, but he didn't react. I called 911, but when they arrived, he was gone. The officers searched, but they found nothing. I fled into the night, unsure where to go. In the street, I met the woman again, calm and composed, unlike before. She introduced herself as Flora and promised to teach me how to see him. Reluctantly, I followed her into the outskirts, to a construction site where she laid out a blanket and taught me to watch for shooting stars without expectation. As I focused, the world around me changed. Flora explained that the men who stand still, like her husband, become imperceptible. They hide in plain sight, existing not as objects to be found but as permanent fixtures in the world. When I finally adjusted my focus, I saw them, standing in strange shapes, blending into the surroundings, impossible to avoid. "I see them everywhere now," she whispered,